And my job was in the Office of Public Engagement, and our job was to connect the millions of Americans who could benefit from the president's policies. And it was not just to connect with them. We didn't just want to, do an ad or do one thing or the other. We wanted to connect them and inspire them to action. And the most important thing that we worked on was healthcare, which I'm not sure if you guys have read, but it's a little bit of a divisive issue over the past few years. In March of 2010, Congress and the president passed the largest overhaul of our healthcare system. And since then, there's been $400 million of negative advertising about the law, compared to about $15 million of positive advertising. A lot of it was partisan, and a lot of it had a lot of negative effects on the law and also just on regular people who needed health care. The biggest negative effect was there was a lot of misleading information, things called death panels. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. Things called the government takeover of healthcare, which is in fact not true. It's private insurance healthcare. And that first year of enrollment, which is actually not even a year, it was just a few months, our office in the White House, in order for this law to work, we needed 7 million Americans to sign up for healthcare. Not only sign up, but in some cases pay, of course. In order for this thing to work, we also needed a lot of healthy young people to sign up. And so my office reached out to influencers, to innovators, to people who could carry the president's message much better than the president can, without the partisan nature, really speaking to their fans in a genuine way. And the first day of enrollment, we got 70 celebrities. Lady Gaga, who has like 70 million Twitter followers, which is incredible. Pharrell, Kerry Washington, Amy Poehler, people all over the country telling young people, look, if you don't have health care, go to healthcare.gov, get health care for your families, get covered. And I remember this day, not because this was a beautiful, beautiful sign of how the country can come together, but I remember this day because these millions of people that were being activated and mobilized to get health care for their families saw this. Do you guys remember that? I remember that too. It was brutal. In case you don't remember it, here's a little short video of how ugly it was.
Another day, another problem.
If they weren't fully ready, they should have delayed another year.
2 weeks into the rollout of the Obamacare website, guess what? It still isn't working.
Right, more chaos on the Obamacare front, as you may know.
Obamacare is a failure. It's always been a failure, and it will not succeed.
It was brutal. It took 2 months for us to get the website up and running. The enrollment period was only 5 or 6 months, so we lost 2 months. And during those 2 months, we had Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert making fun of us pretty much every day. So we had a fundamental problem. There was also some history here. In 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt also had a crisis on his hands. It wasn't a dysfunctional website. It was the banking system. In fact, it was our whole economy. So 8 days into office, he did the unthinkable. He did something that no one else did before him. He went on the radio, and he spoke to 60 million people, and it was called the first fireside chat. And within 2 weeks of this fireside chat, half of the people who were hoarding their money put their money back into the banking system. And many credit this first fireside chat with being the beginning of the end of the Great Depression. It's pretty amazing, the power of communication. But for Obama and for this White House, we didn't quite have the bully pulpit. We couldn't just go on the radio and have 60 million people activated. We had to do something different. And to be honest, we had a little bit of an identity issue. We had to think big, we had to think bold. And so we had to talk to Papa J. And I'll admit, Valerie Jarrett and the president did not call my father. He couldn't pull them over on the side of the road. But I was there. I was at the White House. And the first step when we thought about this was, well, look, that was a disastrous rollout. That was just brutal. But the website was working now. So in order for us to say, hey guys, the website's working, let's go back. Go back to the website, sign up. We needed to be honest about that. We needed to be truthful. And the only way we could really talk about this was using comedy and using humor. And the second thing, if we're going to use comedy and we're going to use humor, we had to go to the best people who knew how to do this. The White House can do a lot of things. There's great policymakers there, but they are not great at comedy. And so we went to the funniest people on the planet. We went to this company called Funny or Die. It's been making these videos for years, hilarious videos for social good. And we called them, we said, hey, we need your help. And they were like, we're in. And the third thing was that the stakes could never be higher. This was not just about comedy, speaking truth to power against the $400 million of negative ads. This really meant life or death to so many families. Millions of families were counting on this law working. Families that needed that life-saving cancer treatment. Families that were being kicked off of their health care plan because of pre-existing conditions. We needed this to work, and we needed this to work for the most important reason. We needed a comedy hero, and that came in the form of this guy, Zach Galifianakis.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. What did you come here to plug?
Have you heard of the Affordable Care Act?
Oh yeah, I heard about that. That's the thing that doesn't work.
It worked. It's boosted traffic to healthcare.gov by 40%.
This video has actually gone viral and to the very people that they need.
Those kinds of media appearances are really going to define presidents.
In 10 years, people are going to look back, and that's just going to be how it's done.
And it worked. 40% uptick in traffic to healthcare.gov. Over 1 million hits to healthcare.gov within the first few days of the video launching. 30 million views of the video. And the incredible thing about this was 90% of the people who were clicking on healthcare.gov from the video had never been to the website before. So it's the exact demographic we were trying to reach. We were trying to reach those healthy young people who otherwise would have never gone to the website. It was an incredible success. It showed the power of truth and the power of comedy. But the most important thing is that it meant so much for so many people. And back to Papa Jay's third lesson, which is be good to people, this is what be good to people looks like. This is when the Obamacare coverage expansion kicked in. It has been the biggest drop in the uninsured rate in 50 years and one of the biggest uninsured rates in the history of this country. And I'm not saying that Zach Galifianakis saved Obamacare. I'm not saying that comedy saved Obamacare. But what I am saying is, when you listen to Papa Jay, and you're honest, and you're truthful, and you do it with a little bit of humor, a lot of good can happen. And I think that's an idea worth spreading. Thank you so much.